Hi, my name is Biro. I'm a co-founder at Jexo. We're a marketplace partner and we build project management apps for Jira Cloud. And today I want to talk to you about backlog management and backlog prioritization and how you can improve your practices in Jira. We're going to go through a few things. First of all, why backlog management matters. How do you currently prioritize in Jira? The common bad habits that come with the standard ability of prioritization in Jira, using a prioritization method or / framework, and using tooling to promote the right habits in Jira. All right, but first of all, why backlog management really matters? Well, let's put it like this. Without a process, your backlog can become clogged with a lot of inactionable items, and also it kind of causes a lack of focus when things are all over the place. In contrast, a well-managed backlog leads to a more efficient and focused team. This results in more predictable outcomes for your project. Fundamentally, if you have your house in order and clean, you will be able to find things easier and you'll be able to deliver your projects and predict the outcomes of your projects a bit better. Okay, but how do you currently prioritize in Jira? Well, in Jira you have two main approaches to reflect your prioritization decision. Well, issue priority field and backlog or board ranking, and these are represented in the decision indicators. These are basically decision indicators, setting your priority as highest or medium, or if you're working with a backlog and the order of the backlog, if you want to do it by order, you just drag and drop your items in the backlog. You can do that in Jira. Usually, depending on the team and the planning approach, there will be one of two factors that influence your prioritization decision. So basically, why do you put priority highest? And both of these factors, to put it like that, relate to effort. And these are story points or original time estimate. So both of these are effort related factor, and that's a very important aspect. There is a lot of material created by Atlassian, agile coach videos, as well as team playbooks teaching you how to conduct your meetings to establish work prioritizations or work priorities. All right, but what's wrong with that? I think a lot of people are used to prioritizing like this, medium, high, low, or just sort it in the order of priority. Well, there's no concrete guidelines on how you define a task effort. What is what is a story point 18 or 20 or whatnot. So usually these are kind of like vague guidelines. There are more factors also that influence priority decision than just effort. And in any team, majority of the teams, you will have other factors that influence how you prioritize that. Just setting it based on the effort is not really realistic, to put it like that. Also, there's no way to capture logic behind prioritization decisions. More often than not, I see an item being prioritized as critical and it has absolutely no information on why that item is critical. It has a description of the issue, but it doesn't pinpoint on why an item is the priority that is supposed to be. Now, there are teams that use some sort of mechanism that comprises of comments or such, but more often than not, the process of why something was prioritized as critical, let's say, is not very transparent. So these are usually issues that lead to vague and inconsistent prioritization. confusion, time wasting, and also more often than not, the loudest person in the room wins, because not following a very established standard, leads to those kind of discussions where it's very easy for someone that's very outspoken to kind of take lead because there's no guidelines. Okay, enough of this blabbering about, but how do we solve this issue? Well, with backlog prioritization templates, and there are few out there. The most popular ones are the ones that are listed here: values versus effort, ICE, RICE, and weighted shortest job first. Sorry. So we're gonna go through a couple of them and explain them a bit more into detail. But first of all, how does it work? Well, I think this sketch here just explains it the best. You have a bunch of metrics. Aside from effort, right, you have a bunch of factors that we call metrics, factors that influence the decision of prioritization, to put it like that. So you have a bunch of these factors or metrics. There is a scoring formula that allows you to basically establish what is a, let's call it integer scoring number for a specific issue. So rather than prioritizing and saying this is high, medium, low, you now follow a scoring model where you have the let's say, as an example, the highest number calculated from the formula is the highest priority, and then you have more granular range rather than just medium, high, low. This helps a lot. The scoring formula is again based on the metrics, the factors that you take in consideration, and we'll show a few examples of these factors / metrics as well as a scoring formula, and we'll start with the easiest one, I would say, because the reason why this is the easiest and the simplest to understand is because fundamentally we're just adding another factor to the prioritization decision, to put it like that. So rather than just having effort, which we kind of established that can be either time-based or story points based, or in this case t-shirt size based. So we have effort, which basically represents how difficult it is to deliver this task, which is, I think, pretty clear. But we also introduce the value, and you'll see this quite a lot. And this is one of the most popular methods, because it's not enough just to think about, how big this issue is, but also, is it valuable to us? Because let's say if you have a habit of prioritizing items that are tiny, well, you also want to understand if you're just chewing at tiny bits of tasks that are not valuable for your product, for your projects, for the outcome of what you're delivering. So that's why first step to evolve your prioritization habits in Jira or outside Jira is stop using just effort and introduce the value aspect of it. Is this a valuable contribution to the outcome of what we're doing? And again, this is in this example, you see a rating. We have a rating from 1 star to 5 stars, for example. 5 stars being this is top-notch, contributes, adds a lot of value to our goal. You also see, apart from the label side, where it says label name on the left, there's also a value, and this is usually because as humans we basically attribute we attribute these things to words. Like, for example, t-shirt sizes, that from clothing it's XS, S, M, L, and XL, and so on. So it's very easy to attribute and say, right, so bug is, the effort is Excel to fix. It would be a lot harder for you to say, well, that bug is a 20 or that task is a 5. So we don't usually do that well with with numbers and numeric values and such. But in order for us to be able to create a formula and calculate the final score of a task, we need that numeric value. So usually what you would do is you would in the back of things, as a manager of the backlog or scope or whatever, you will assign numbers to each of those values. Like for example, S is a 5, and in value a 3-star value is an 8. These don't necessarily need to be well known and memorized by the team. Is mainly for the manager or whoever's the team lead to be able to calculate the score of that task. And in this case, you see on the top right of the screen, we have the score formula, which we basically divide value by effort. And by dividing value by effort, we basically reach a score that will establish, and also based on the values that we gave each of the metrics labels, to put it like that, you will get to a score where the highest valued and lowest effort will be the highest scored because of value divided by effort, which you kind of understand what that means. Okay, so I think that's kind of clear. We can move on to the next prioritization method, and the next one is the ICE. And ICE is, again, I would say a continuation of the value versus effort. The metrics, the factors are slightly named differently, but again, it's kind of the same. So if you look at ease very easily can be mapped to effort, because that's what it is. It's just the opposite, right? So you say effort, t-shirt side, and in this example, it's still effort based. How easy or how hard it is to achieve this. And we have an ease metric values here, factor values, which is small, medium, large. We used a simplified t-shirt size this time. And again, we have the values 5, 10, 20. We have the impact, which again, you could argue that it is a match with value, because how valuable is this, but as well as it's a kind of like a positive factor. How much does this contribute to our goal? How impactful is this to our mission? So it's the exact same thing. And you see another example of using the metric options, which is, let's say, net zero for impact. There's absolutely no impact to what we do, to very low, to very high, which is a 10 value. But we introduced another metric, another factor, which is confidence. And this is how confident are you this will work. And again, this is one thing that you see quite often in ad hoc discussions, and you probably already do this, but maybe you're not super aware that you're doing it, and you don't have an established method standard like this to log everything. But very often than not, you will be asked, or you will ask yourself, how sure am I of this task? Do I know how to resolve this task? Do I know how to fix this bug? Are there unknowns that I'm not aware of? And that usually influences the final score, because the higher the confidence, the more likely you are to to achieve that, to pinpoint, to nail down the ease value, right? If you say, well, this task is a large and my confidence in this is very high, then there's a high chance that will be a large item and your prioritization decision evaluation, to put it like that, is accurate. But then if you say, well, this other bug is an S, but I have very low or no confidence at all, then it's kind of like the ease metric becomes a bit of a question mark. Anyways, the scoring formula for this specific scenario, for this method, is impact multiplied by confidence multiplied by ease. And again, this is in order to define what items should be prioritized. And in this scenario, unlike the previous, which is value versus effort, in value versus effort, if you look at the values of each of the options, value is a high positive, right? So the higher you go in the value, the more positive, while effort is negative, higher in negative value, to put it like that. So excess, which is a very positive, because you're basically saying, oh, there's a valuable, let's say there's a valuable item to deliver, and it's very tiny to deliver. So excess here is 1, while the XL is 20. Well, that means that the higher the item, the less positive. So that's why we have a formula where value divided by effort, because the effort range is opposite to value, if that makes sense. While in the ICE method, all of the metrics are high positive, right? So the higher you go in the value, the better. So that's why the scoring formula would be impact multiplied by confidence multiplied by ease, because all of the metrics are positive high. So the higher all of them, the better. So that's why you use a multiplication. Now, you don't necessarily need to only use multiplication. You can, for example, use a addition. So scoring plus confidence plus ease. This is more popular, the multiplication approach. So we use this in the example. So that's a couple of very good examples on how you prioritize. How do you create a method for prioritization? There are others. There's RICE, which I believe was invented by who was it? Intercom. Yes, Intercom. So Intercom created RICE, which is an alteration of ICE, which adds the reach metric. So basically, what is the reach of this change? Let's put it like that. You can have like wide reach or I don't know, or very little to no reach. In terms of this, could potentially be customers. Let's say the customers that are affected by this change, and then you have also weighted shortest job first, which is more of a safe, larger organization type of prioritization approach / method. Okay, so there's various ways on how you can basically manage this. Let's call it your new backlog prioritization standard. You can just do it on a piece of paper, on a whiteboard. Let's say you memorized all of the metrics and you know what it means and you calculate it. That's going to take you a lot of time. There's also the spreadsheet approach where and this is a bit better because you can have these formulas already mapped into cells. So when you do the calculation is a bit easier for you. But again, that is an approach where if you're working with Jira or any task management, then you would need to somehow map it, link it to Jira, to the tasks themselves, or just go and arrange in the backlog manually based on what score order you've achieved in the spreadsheet. Another way would be to use a kind of like this, also still spreadsheet, but more of a spreadsheet apps where you could potentially link to your Jira issues. But those spreadsheet apps usually are a bit more complex to set up and require a bit more thinking when it comes to working with them. But fear not, we have a solution for you, and that's Foxley. We actually built this based on initially my experience with having issues with managing backlog and dealing with terribly looking backlogs. And we initially built it for ourselves because we needed a fancier way, a better way for us to manage our backlog. We knew about the prioritization methods. We also use Foxley, and we use the prioritization methods not just on how we execute work, let's say building a new feature, but also to manage customer feedback, to do service desk queuing and answering and resolving tickets. So we use prioritization methods everywhere across the organization. So that kind of like pushed us to use a standard, because we were using different methods depending on the team and who's working with what. So we built Foxley for that exact reason. Foxley integrates in Jira with your backlog, with your issues, and it's very, very easy to use. It comes with predefined templates. Yeah, so you can, all of these templates that I mentioned, let me just play this. So all of the things that I mentioned, the prioritization templates are available in Foxley. There are 4 of them. We also created our own called Quick Wins method, so you can use that one as well. We have a webinar on that specific one. But again, you will find the metrics as I presented here. Each metric has a label and a value, and then you also calculate. You build your formula, and there's quite a flexible formula builder that you can utilize in a visual basic way, or you can switch to a more enhanced and advanced way. So you have all of these predefined options. You can also generate your own, so you can personalize metrics, priority metrics the way you feel like. A lot of companies will have bespoke cases, scenarios, even for individual teams, right? Because you're not going to prioritize the same way, let's say, a service desk queue to how you'd prioritize customer feedback, or I don't know, anything else in your organization. So you can basically create templates per project. You can also share templates across multiple projects, which again, I think it's very beneficial. And you can add and alter existing templates, existing methods, to add more factors as your company evolves and as your team grows. You probably find additional factors to take in consideration for every individual prioritization session. So you have that. I mentioned you can customize you can customize the scoring formula as well. It has quite a bit of formula, how should I put it? Capabilities. Yeah, we're also planning to introduce more like conditional statements and things like that. So you'll have it all available there, and you can easily and quickly edit things. We do have a backlog view where you can easily quickly change all of the metrics in a table type of view, and you can just click and change with no or low effort. And then the scoring formula, you have it in a column highlighted. The final score, you have it in a column. It's highlighted. The darker the color, purple color, the higher the number, so you can order by that. And of course, it comes, because it's kind of like let's call it a backlog replacer. It comes with a lot of filtering capabilities, which, I mean, probably a lot more than your backlog view, your default backlog view in Jira can give you. So you can you have a few simplified, predefined filters for it, but also you can switch to JQL and use the JQL way, the way you would use with any other way. There's also one thing to mention. You can also prioritize across multiple projects. So if you have like 2-3 service desk projects and you have the exact same prioritization template running across these 3 projects, you can also just pull and filter by those 3 projects and have all of the let's say all of the queue tickets into one single view from across multiple service desk projects, and basically allow your team to prioritize based on the factors rather than projects individual. So you can do cross-team or / cross-project prioritization as well, which is pretty neat. You also get this embedded prioritization glance in each issue, so you'll be able to see the score when you visit the issue or when your team visits the issue, and also assign the values from that individual right panel. All right, and also one of my favorites is the prioritization metric. And with the prioritization metric, you can basically have a different view rather than a list view. Have a quadrant-based view of all of your tasks or all of your backlog, and based on what you choose to show as the axis and the bubble sizes, you can have quadrants that represent, for example, let's say low-hanging fruits. Like, for example, quadrant 3 can be low-hanging fruits versus quadrant 1, which would be extremely lengthy and risky tasks to pick up. And then you have this visualization approach, this other dimension that you can take decisions based on. Also, the app is fully integrated with Jira Cloud, and it stores. You can have custom fields, and then you can use automation in Jira, the default automation, to synchronize fields. So like, for example, if you want to bring, let's say, story points into the equation, into the formula, into the method, you can create a story points method in the template and then synchronize that with your story points field, which again enables you to bring all of that together. And last but not least, we're currently building something that we hope that will enable or enhance transparency and collaboration, inclusiveness, to put it like that, in the prioritization process. We're building a priority planning poker feature where you'll be able to vote with your team on each individual metric in order to take decisions as a group. You might already be doing that, with a method like this, but in a meeting somewhere and everyone's in the same room or in a Zoom call, well, this will allow you to do it async from across the team and just vote on each metric and basically establish the scoring based on, everyone's opinion, not just the managers or the loudest person in the room, going back to the same thing with the loudest person in the room. And you'll also be able to allocate ownership to each individual priority score. So in those sessions, in those poker sessions, those game sessions, you can have individuals that own, for example, effort, and that's kind of like a technical lead, versus someone that owns value, which is more, let's say, customer centric. Okay, that's kind of it. Hope that makes sense. I really hope to kind of like share and spread the word about prioritization and how to improve it. And if you have any questions, just let me know. I'm more than happy to answer.